What's going on, guys? I'm Journey. Final Fantasy VII is an amazing title. Gone are the 2D sprite sheets that you know on Nintendo since FF6, and held low to 3D polygons on PlayStation. A lot of people didn't like that, boo, but it served them super well, as Final Fantasy VII was the one to get them, let them break through and become a household name. So yeah, this one, still to this day, this presence is felt because of not only the wonderful cast of characters, main, supporting, and even the villain. Um, because of the villain alone is one of the reasons why Final Fantasy VII cracks my top 5 Final Fantasies of all time, just because of the villain alone. But still, the gameplay is amazing. The music is also wonderful. You play as Cloud, a mercenary who takes a job from his childhood friend Tifa, who has ties to a mercenary group, or I should say, not mercenary, a resistance group known as Avalanche, who is led by Barrett. They have some different types of means of getting their jobs done, and it could cause a lot of issues that you tend to find yourself in. But between all, or in deep within all, like just these elements that just play out, there is a entity that's just going about doing his thing, and he's plotting to bring the world to its destruction, named Sephiroth. His presence alone is that of just this towering figure who is unbeatable in power, presence, and he just seems like he would just dominate you without necessarily even having to touch you. Uh, so he's a character that is just it's polarizing, right? You have a wonderful group of supporting cast: Aerith, Sid, Red 13, Cave Sith, Yuffie. I'm missing about I think and Vincent. They're all wonderful, and a lot of people will take to these characters, and it seems like you'd be hard pressed to find a person that don't like any of them. So they are very very wonderful, all within all right with their own stories, backgrounds. It's all there. It's all there. The music even takes it even a step further, with certain scenes leaving people just crying from way back when. So even today, certain things can still be touching because the music just does a wonderful job of evoking that emotion from you. The gameplay itself is very traditional. It's traditional turn-based Final Fantasy as you always known it, but they introduced the materia mechanic, where materias are, think of it as little orbs that you find throughout the world uh, on your adventure, and some of them are tied to a command. Let's say you could get one that has steel, so it will add something to your basic selection that will say steel. You level that up, and it will change it to morph. Or it would change into mug. You can find one that has morph, and what morph does, it it lets you strike an enemy, but for the damage will be decreased. But if you manage to kill the enemy with morph, it will transform into an item. So it's a wonderful way to collect things like ribbons, but also there's even more. So there's summoning, there's magic, the same magic as you always known and used to, but here's another aspect. If you can, since you could level them up, if you level them up to max, they will duplicate, meaning you could take that same materia, or at least a duplication of that materia. It will be reset back to 1, but you can put it on another character and then re-level it again. So yeah, you can do that as much as you like. So it's wonderful. It's a system that allows you to invest your time into it and get rewarded big time. So it all depends about your own time pace. So how you want to handle that, that's entirely up to you. If you have the time, it will work out for you. If you don't, that would be, you'd be a little bit limited, but there are other options for you. There's mini games that you can find at the Gold Saucer. You can do Chocobo Racing. You can play basketball. There's a lot there without getting too spoily about it. There's the Battle Arena that probably you're gonna want to engage in because it's challenging, right? You go in, and the further you go, there's 8 stages. So the further you go, the more you'll be penalized. So it's like Russian roulette, right? But the rewards are amazing if you can be able to do it. So that's wonderful for you as well to do too. Also, the while you're doing all this, the world is at the brink of destruction because there's this one entity named Sephiroth who's just a He's like I say, he's towering. He wants the destruction of the world. He wants what should be his, in a sense, and it's our job to put a stop to it. So, with all that being said, you must defeat Sephiroth. Whether you can or not, that's entirely up to you. Also, with something like Final Fantasy VII, it marks the dawn of a new age for the series as a whole. And what I tend to find is that a lot of people are so passionate about their number that they tend to forget that there are other people who might want to be able to hop in and find their own little journey on in Final Fantasy. So, no matter how passionate you may feel, people in their eyes take in information and stuff differently. So we have to be aware of that and understanding of it. So it's best to talk about the things that you do find interesting, some of the things you dislike, stuff like that, without trying to trash other products. That would be pretty cool, because sometimes what I tend to find is some communities can be pretty toxic, and instead of just focusing on why the game is good, they'll look at this game compared to like another game and then trash another game just because it doesn't meet this person's expectations, even though another person feels as though their expectations was met compared to the other game. So it's like it's a conflict of interest, and unfortunately, some of that get lost, and you can be seen with that with FF6, FF7 even. So if we can, I would love to reel that back in and just say simply, this game is amazing. 6 is amazing. A lot of them are amazing all with their own right. With all that being said, please go out there, pick this up, and enjoy it. You can find it in a lot of places. There's also the remake out there if you want to. But if you're looking for the old classic one, this will most definitely still suit your needs to this very day. Mad love to y'all guys. I'm Journey. This is my thoughts. Go on and pick up this amazing game. What else can I add? And go pick it up.